Namaste. Welcome to 100 Analog Mission Anniversary, organized by AATC 2025. I'm Upasana, currently doing my PhD in Cagliari, Italy, on biotechnological application of microalgae in long duration space mission. Today is day 3 of published paper session in which my topic is about advancing analog astronaut training in lunar habitat research, which basically delve deeper into the research of the 6-7 days mission that was conducted by AATC. You can see here 6 crew members where I was presented as a vice commander of the crew. Delving deeper to the topic, it was presented in Milan 2024 with me being the first author of the paper. The paper is also accessible publicly by the conference website. Getting to know what exactly is in this presentation is about where was the research conducted, what was the habitat design about, what are the different activities or the daily operation that astronaut undergo during this isolation period. Followed by that, each astronaut or each crew was assigned different particular experiment according to their expertise, in which we have astrobiological experiment, botanical experiment, comet, that is a mechanical experiment, thermodynamic experiment, psychological effects in isolation, emergency simulations, and the environmental parameters that was conducted or constantly being observed inside the modules of the habitat. Talking about the mission overview, the name of the mission was MPOL 17. That was 120 kilometer near Krakow, Poland. And it was during 2023, 29th April to 6th May. And a crew member of 6. Here you are looking at the AATC lunar habitat in the slide picture, which is approximately around TRL level 5, is a bioastronautics research laboratory. The interior of the habitat was something that you can see right now in the slide, which is a modular design with a bathroom, kitchen, dormitory, storage labs, and airlock. It was a complete isolation in which there was zero windows and no daylight to study the circadian rhythm of different astronauts during the isolation period. The habitat was working on lunar time operation, that is 24.8 hours, and the crew members were having no idea about the outer world and the timing with the Earth circle. There was a constant environmental monitoring in which there was temperature, humidity, and the cameras were constantly tracking and continuously monitoring all the activities of the astronauts. Here you can see the daily operation that was conducted, and every astronaut each day followed a careful scheduled routine based on the lunar time frame, which is completely isolated from the outer side of the world. All of us were awakened and at a specific time that is simulated with the lunar timing of the mission. Throughout the day, we all underwent different exercises, different experiments to maintain the bioimpedance and helping to monitor the body composition and hydration. So regular physical activities and different exercises were designed so that the effects of low gravity was essential to maintain the muscle and the bone health. Additionally, the sleep cycles were strictly monitored and to ensure proper rest during the mission and the circadian rhythm alignment, which is very critical for the long-term space mission. Here you can see different experiment like a urine test, circadian cycle, bioimpedance. Glucose was also constantly monitored before and after the food. There was STP, ECG, ultrasound for the gut movements, and HF experiment, SHIP experiment. All of these experiments we are getting to know in the further slide when we delve deeper to the presentation. Here you are looking at the sleep protocol. Just to give you a brief about the picture that you are seeing here is Vinci napping, which basically is a very flexible fabric and sensor to monitor the body position and oscillation during the naps. So it is physiologic. It connects to the physiological data like blood pressure, pulse, oximetry, and time perception. All of this were recorded during the sleep, and every astronaut was undergoing at a particular time, which was specific to each astronaut for the nap. It also tracked the not this one, but there was another machine that was also tracking the VAS, which is a visual analog scale during the sleep protocol, which basically is uh, getting to know the dream logging of the colors. Like if you are seeing a dream, what was the color that was very much dominant in your dream, or the patterns if you are seeing a specific patterns in your dream, or is there a sensation that you are constantly feeling in the dreams. So all this were monitored on a daily basis after waking up of each astronaut or the crew members. Talking about the nutrition tracking, all of the food items were balanced and were weighed before having by the astronaut. There was a constant change even in the weight of every day of astronaut after the intake of the food in the lunch and the dinner. The calories were all balanced with the carbohydrates, equal amounts of protein, and the necessary vitamins provided in the food items. So all this were closely monitored with the crew health and metabolism. Talking about the exercise, the analog astronaut were asked to eat regularly, and after eating, there is a exercise for each of the astronaut for at least 1 hour of the daily schedule. This reveals a very good example of the physical training that has to be conducted inside the microgravity conditions, which is basically to resist or to prevent the hypoxia condition of the of your body when there is a microgravity conditions. Body weight, body temperature, body water content, all were monitored after this exercise, and everything was recorded throughout the day. As I said, all the astronauts were having a specific experiment according to their expertise. This is me who was taking a crew blood sample for the astrobiology experiment. The experiment was basically about the microbial behavior and survival of different microbes in the isolation. So the samples were collected from different modules and crew's body. So the modules were from bedroom modules, the laboratories, the biolab, and other labs. And the crew is for blood, urine, and saliva samples. All were found in diverse microbial communities persisting under analog space conditions. And implication for crew health and how clean is the habitat along with the long-term space missions techniques. When we get to know about the exact procedure, how did I do that? These are the different samples that were collected from the surfaces, which was followed by the staining techniques to identify the microbial morphology, which was incubated for 28 to 48 hours. And if you can closely observe here, you can see some white dots, which is expected to have or assumed to have equal eye contamination by one of the crew member. Talking about experiment 2, botanical experiment. This experiment was about coriander seeds, Coriandrum sativum. The picture you're looking at is a UV setup using red and blue light wavelength to simulate the efficient plant development. It investigates the plant growth under condition that is analogous to space missions or any microgravity conditions. So the best thing about this experiment was the composed soil. The soil that was used to grow this plant was exactly the standard earth soil. However, it was a mixture of the different compost that was generated during the mission from the vegetables peeling or different manure, or you can also say the metabolic waste of the astronaut was used as a vitamins or the minerals to provide the plants so that the growth will be efficient. Further delving to the other experiments, that is comet coil mechanical electric transducer. This experiment was basically about harvesting the mechanical energy, in which there is two devices. The first device was attached to the treadmill or the bicycle when there was exercise going on with the astronaut body. This converts the energy from the treadmill and exercise bike or a cycling during the crew workout sessions. That quantifies weekly energy production from this mechanical energy. And the second is about the gel soles that converts the walking pressure into electrical charges. So basically there was a gel inserted towards the and embedded inside a sensor towards the ankle of the astronauts, which was further getting energy out of it as the astronaut is moving inside the modules. So early results indicate feasibility of these experiments, but technical setup has some challenges remain. Talking about the next experiment, TEC, thermodynamic energy conversion. So the purpose of this experiment was to conserve the heat energy using the sit-back effects. So the heaters, the kettles, the computer, and the human body, how much the heat was generated. Even it was also linked to the biological experiment in which we were making the agar plates. The energy that was the heat that was coming out of the agar while the process of boiling the agar in a boiling temperature was also taking the energy for this experiment. All this were connected in series to test the energy yield, and all the current intensity was recorded versus the temperature difference was studied. Talking about the psychological effect, in long term of isolation, it is very evident for the astronauts to have a stress factors using and which was constantly studying using different models or experiments. One of those was the dragon space drawings, in which it was an artistic self-expression of drawing to reflect the emotional states or emotional uh, well-being of the astronauts. This is a visual analysis of drawing complemented formal questionnaires and reports in which there was astronaut who was feeling weak with the different colors. They outcase or they suggest or they showcase their emotions in the drawing statistics. Talking about the environment parameters, all the modules was constantly been studied, as I have mentioned before, about the temperature, the humidity, the carbon dioxide, the carbon monoxide, the oxygen, the voltage, the vibration, the outside weather. Everything was constantly studied in each part of the module. so that it makes sense. When you have a look on the graph or the picture that I have attached to, it is all in green. So which basically means all the module are in safe breathing zone. There is no harm for the astronaut to breathe in this zone of the module. However, when we are going more details to that, in the emergency situation, so in the case of emergency situation, there was a phase in this mission in which, if you compare the environmental parameters, the last was green and this is of red and yellowish, which basically means the module is losing the oxygen. So this was it was a real emergency simulation that was it is basically contradicting the title, but it was really happening, in which there was a cutoff of oxygen and we need to fix the asteroid hitting to its coordinate, and then the the parameters of the habitat or the environmental will resume. So till then, the constantly, if you see in bathroom, it was 5,000 ppm. So basically it was very harmful for astronaut to go there and breathe. So we really had to think very quickly and instantly when there is a emergency situation happening in the habitat. So this is the result of the environment measurement of the first simulation that was occurred during it. Finally, talking about different insights. So, why are these missions important? What are the data? The picture that you are seeing here is some fun habitat in which there is a simulation of microgravity, and all the astronauts are flying, and the other part there is someone stealing something, and we are playing around. But just to give you the insights, why are this experiment important? What is the important outcome of it? All the analog missions reveal how humans adapt to isolation and extreme conditions. In this way, why I do say this is without the windows, without any daylight, without any sun exposure, humans tend to lose the vitamin and the body metabolism and the circadian rhythm. In this way, they try to behave in different way as behaved in a normal Earth conditions or a control conditions. So this reveal the psychological behavior of humans. It is a test bed for life support, habitat design, and crew psychology. So it basically gives you analog missions basically give you insights to how astronaut will behave in even staying away in isolation, or maybe how is the habitat be designed, or how is the life support system working. This collected data improve the astronaut health and the mission efficiency. It is a bridge basically between the Earth and the different planet. So this is how the analog missions are really helping, and the data that has been collected from different experiments. I hope you liked the presentation, and thanks for being here. Thank you.